Welcome to Creating Connections Podcast, episode number 95. I am Gittimer Certified Advisor, Mitch Taylor.
I'm Certified Personality Trainer, Vicki Musney.
And today we're talking about what do you do when you have a payment plan that kind of goes awry? And how do you know if the client is a right fit and you should offer a payment plan? Payments. What's your plan?
That was nice and easy.
What are you talking about? This also speaks to a much bigger issue.
Providing personal solutions through understanding people. This is the Creating Connections Podcast with Gittimer Certified Advisor Mitch Taylor and Certified Personality Trainer Vicki Musney.
I wanted to bring this topic up because someone recently shared a story in our Sales for Event Pros group about a situation that they're in. This woman owns a video company and had met with a client in early December and asked for what, in my opinion, is a relatively small deposit or retainer fee or initial payment.
Agreed.
I don't want to get into that verbiage right now. That's not my focus for today. But $250, and the client asked if they could pay $100 now and $150 next week. Then there were several back and forth conversations, and always a reason. Oh yeah, well this happened, and oh Christmas or whatever, and oh yeah, the check's in the mail kind of a thing. Fast forward 6 weeks, the second half of that retainer fee wasn't even half. The $150 hadn't been paid yet. So here she is going, what do? I tried to be nice. Now what? And I know what advice I gave her. And maybe,
for me, it's always a few questions first. Number one, is it an ideal client for you? Is this someone you want to do business with? When you met with them or you had your conversation with them, was it a right fit? Or was it not a right fit?
Mm-hmm.
And are you just trying to get your staff, your team, dates filled in? Maybe it was right for your team, but not for you. That's okay too. Nothing wrong with that. But, what's the situation? So that's the first thing. Second thing is, to me, is how far out is the event date? Oftentimes for clients that, yes, it's Christmas, or, it's my boyfriend's just getting a new job now, and so money's not going to be coming in again for another, couple of weeks while he gets up and running. Those kind of things, I understand. That's life.
Mm-hmm.
Life happens. And so if they're far enough out, I guess is my point. If they're far enough out where you can have payment plans determined so that you still get your full retainer payment, whatever that might be, for us, it's half. But if you get that full amount up front to the point where you're okay, let's say it's still 12 months or 9 months before the event date that you're getting that full half down, so that if they miss a payment, you can still recoup, and be able to market that date to another client. I'm okay with that. I'm okay offering payment plans at that point.
And I have offered payment plans before, and I have even just recently.
Yeah.
I met with a client also right before Christmas, and they wanted to book, but with Christmas and, they have a young child, and there were a lot of things going on. And I did let them know, though, that I was going to be making some changes to the way we were structuring our packages and our offerings. And if they wanted to lock in the specific package that we had talked about, they needed to do that by the end of the year.
Mm-hmm.
And I did say, you can pay me, I usually ask for $500 for that particular package. That's a third. I do thirds. Sure. And so I said, you can do $250 now and $250 at the end of January. But I needed the $250 and the signed agreement. I wanted them by New Year's Eve.
Yep.
And sure enough, at 4:30 on New Year's Eve, my phone rang and here's a credit card number and we want to lock this in. My issue with this situation is she was flexible, because I get that. People are people, life happens.
Yes.
I was like that. And I remember when I was planning my own wedding, I know what my situation was like.
Mm-hmm.
I get it. I didn't have that just, I could write a check for whatever I wanted immediately. I get that reality. But in this case, I'll pay you the other half next week, 4 separate conversations later, it had never come in.
Yeah.
6 weeks later, she had 4 different excuses. And as a videographer, as a business owner, I just see that going, if this is who you are looking at working with and this is how they are planning to behave, that's not one I would want to work with.
Agreed. It goes back to respect. And respect is a two-way street, and it's earned. And so if they don't respect you enough to at least have some communication, and I'm not talking the communication that was, Christmas, checks in the mail. I mean, seriously, stop the excuses, cut to the heart of the matter, and tell me what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
And I can decide yay or nay if I want to work with you at that point. But to give excuses,
I feel like it's dishonest.
Those are like opinions, and we know what those are like.
But I mean, it's dishonest to say I'm going to do this next week and then not do it.
Yes.
Once it was an accident, but by the 4th time or the 4th or 5th week out from the original conversation.
Yes.
And I just see that as a really unhealthy way to start a business relationship.
Or finish one.
I would rather spend my energy with that client talking about their vision for their video and are we going to do any pre-shooting before, and can we do the interview style, or do you want this style or that, and what are we planning it and planning the shoot, and then knowing that there's also editing time on the other end. I don't want to spend all my time and energy figuring out how I'm going to track down a payment.
Yeah.
That sounds exhausting to me.
Yeah. Well, you're taking a chance, right? You're taking a chance by offering them an opportunity for a payment plan. But to me, again, it's calculated. It's calculated to the point where we are understanding, okay, it's X amount of months out from the event. I'm going to take a risk and I'm going to accept the booking. But in the contract terms, it specifies if they miss this payment date or any payment dates, we have a right to seek other business for that date, which would then nullify the contract. I'm not a contract lawyer. Let me say that right up front. I am not a contract lawyer. I'm just explaining how ours is worded so that it's effective for us to be able to accept bookings.
And I have not read the contract in the example that sparked this conversation.
I haven't either.
But I think it's a topic that we can all relate to, because I get it. And here you and I, Mitch, we preach human connection and understanding people and connecting with the individual and being flexible and treating people fairly and according to their unique situation. But I feel like you can reach a point where being flexible becomes being taken advantage of.
Yes. And that sounds like what happened in this case. It was very much being taken advantage of. And that's why I have specific dates in the contract to line out that if you miss a date of payment, we have one right now that put down, I think it was $500 off the top of my head. And their retainer payment was $1,000. They're going to do another $100 each month, but it's a late 2018 wedding. I'm okay with that. I got 25% of monies up front, and then I have a $100 a month payment for the next 5 months. But once that final $100 payment is made,
are those $100 payments coming in?
It hasn't happened yet, okay?
Okay, it hasn't started yet. Okay.
Right. So the reality is, this point, we have a $100 payment scheduled to come out right now. They're to pay us. But the reality is when that final $500 payment hits, that'll be a full $1,000 down on the event.
Mm-hmm.
At that date and time, there's another 12 months until her wedding date. So if she misses, I still have 12 months to try to book that event. Does that make sense?
Exactly.
So for me, that's the other determining factor, whether or not I'm going to do a payment plan. A, is it an ideal client? B, how much time?
And I like that. I like that your first reaction was bring it back to the initial conversation. And again, I wasn't here in this case. I don't know what the level of conversation and connection was that they had or anything about that particular situation. But I think that is a good question to go back to. Because I know my initial reaction was very cut and dry. Let her go, not worth it.
Right.
And maybe that's just me being, a little too red.
Yeah.
But maybe it's also because I learned that lesson the hard way when we were newer in our videography company.
I have too.
Mm-hmm. But I like that you brought it back to that. I think that is important for anyone that might find themselves in this situation to say, is this really, truly a good fit? Yeah. And then maybe if you did have that real legitimate connection, then you try to have maybe a phone conversation
totally.
Or email, and then really figure out, okay, what's going on? Do we need to both
part ways
and part, and that's fine? Or do we need to reevaluate our agreement? But you can't just have multiple missed deadlines and expect to proceed. I don't think so.
Yeah. So how do you handle payment plans? That's how we handle our payment plans, and kind of chat a little about that and making sure it's the right fit. Time before the event is crucial in my decision-making process on whether I'm going to offer a payment plan or not. And again, is it a right fit ultimately is the answer. So I hope that helps someone in regards to payment plans, and do you offer them, and how do you decide?
And anyone finding themselves in this situation.
Yeah, it could be a struggle, and ultimately you have to have empathy, but you also cannot be a doormat. You can't be taken advantage of, frankly. So that's Creating Connections podcast for today, episode number 95. I am Gittimer Certified Advisor Mitch Taylor.
I'm Certified Personality Trainer Vicki Musney.
So catch us at Mobile Beat Las Vegas coming up. MobileBeatLasVegas.com is the place to get your tickets. If you've ever wanted to be a fly on the wall in another person's sales meeting, this is your opportunity. And we're going to uncover exactly how to move that client through the process, how to handle the objections that you get, and also what clues that you can listen for that maybe didn't come up before, but now you're hearing them for the first time. Oh my gosh, what do I handle? How do I handle that?
And you're talking about an actual workshop.
Yes.
And I think that's a huge distinction to make to anyone listening if you haven't taken a workshop. This is different than just watching us talk if you've participated in
not the same.
Live webinars or the sales help course or something like that. Yes, there will be similar components in that we are sharing a recorded sales meeting, but we're going to really interact with it and interact with you interacting with the content.
You are doing the work for each step in the sales process. We'll break out an item of the sales meeting, and then you will do the work on how to develop that for your own business. And then you will get coached.
We don't want you to learn how to sell our companies.
Right.
We want you to learn how to sell your own
company. Exactly. And how you move your company forward. So you'll get coached on that part of the sales process and how you apply it to your own business. That's what this is about. This is Creating Connections podcast, providing personal solutions through understanding people better.
Thanks for joining us. Have a great week.
Thank you for listening to the Creating Connections podcast with Gittimer Certified Advisor Mitch Taylor and Certified Personality Trainer Vicki Musney. For more information on providing personal solutions through understanding people better, visit creatingconnections.biz.